Okay. Segment 4 here, the stakes. Tom Sowell this past summer, quote, "The America that has flourished for more than 2 centuries is being quietly but steadily dismantled by the Obama administration," close quote. Now you note the way the Obama administration has used executive orders to waive provisions in the No Child Left Behind Act and to repeal, your word, the legal requirement that welfare recipients must work. He's the president, Tom. Doesn't he get to make adjustments in this law or that law?
Well, he didn't. The oath that he took of office was that he would faithfully execute the laws. Now, I don't think they meant execute in the same way that the mafia means it.
Thomas Sowell on Obamacare. Quote, "Obamacare imposes huge costs on some institutions, while the president's waivers exempt other institutions from having to pay those same costs. The law says you've got to do this, and over here we have the Secretary of Health and Human Services granting a waiver to this person or that entity, or this waiver's taking place over here." Well, it's legal. Nobody seems to have sued them for that.
One of the great problems is that people do not react. I mean, when all is said and done, the Constitution of the United States is a set of words on pieces of paper. The only way that the Constitution can protect us is if we protect the Constitution. If we rise up and revolt, if we vote out of office people who violate the Constitution, then of course it will mean something. If people can do this, say a few pretty words, and we say, oh well, then the Constitution will, over time, erode to the point where it will mean absolutely nothing. There'll be nice words on paper, but people with power will just do what they feel like.
What about those 9 people in black robes who sit on the bench across the street from the United States Capitol? Isn't it the job of the Supreme Court of the United States to defend the Constitution?
It is, but they alone can't do it. And more importantly, if Obama gets reelected, he's probably going to have 1 or maybe 2 more members to appoint. And from that point on, it will just be a rubber stamp for whatever he chooses to do.
The fundamental champion of the United States Constitution must be the people of the United States.
Absolutely. If they don't care, it'll be walked. Already we have the Senate violating an explicit rule of the Constitution that each year they must present a budget to the public.
It's been 3.5 years without a budget now.
That's right. Now, as long as no one does anything about it, it'll go on. Whenever it's inconvenient for any administration to reveal what they're going to do, then they simply won't present a budget.
All right. From the constitutional argument to the economy, Tom Sowell, quote, "We are not yet Greece, but we are not exempt from the rules of arithmetic that caught up with Greece. We have just a little more time," close quote. So what's going to go wrong? Let's assume Barack Obama, for the moment, let's assume Barack Obama wins re-election. What bad things happen?
For one thing, we start running out of money. And that's the problem of Greece. See, the secret of the welfare state is you can do almost anything in the short run, juggling money from here to there and so on. But in the long run, the arithmetic can't be ignored. And in the long run, you're going to run out of money, which is what's happened in Greece, which is starting to happen in Spain, and which can happen in the United States.
So you're an optimist. That is to say, the welfare state, against which you have devoted enormous professional energies over these several decades now, is about to come to an end, one way or the other.
That's right, but it makes a difference how it comes to an end.
Okay, so that's what I'm trying. What feels? I mean, look, we have 8 point something or other percent unemployment. As a matter of fact, if the same number of people were still in the workforce as were when President Obama took office, the unemployment rate would be 11%. The economy is really bad.
Yes.
But by historical standards, it's still a wealthy country.
Yes.
People can get by. Journalists are already defining this state of affairs as the new normal. So really, 4 more years of Barack Obama does what to us? We can skate by, Tom.
The question is, how long can you skate? Greece discovered that there does come a point where there is no more money. In Spain, people are already leaving Spain in droves and taking their money out of the Spanish banks with them. One of the things that you can do in the long run, they'll be forced to do, is simply print more money. And as they print more money, that is simply a hidden form of taxation. I mean, when the Federal Reserve creates money to buy government bonds and keeps the interest rate low in order to make the price of the debt service low, what that means is that if you have your money put aside in the bank and you're getting 1% and the inflation rate is 3%, that means they're taking 2% of your savings every single year, and you know how compound interest is.
Right.
And even under the current conditions, a $100 bill in 1998 would not buy as much as a $20 bill would have bought in 1960. So the thievery that goes on through inflation is huge.
Even when inflation is relatively modest.
That's right.
Last question about the underlying changes in the country. My friend John Hinderaker writes on the Powerline blogs site, and he was, as we tape this today, who knows, a week from now or 2 weeks from now, but as we tape this today, the election is fundamentally tied between Obama and Romney. And John Hinderaker wrote, this election should be a cakewalk for the Republicans. He agrees with your point,
yes,
that if it were being decided on the facts, Obama would be doomed. Why isn't it? I'm afraid, writes John Hinderaker, the answer may be that the country is closer to the point of no return than most of us believed, with over 100 million Americans receiving federal welfare benefits, millions more going on Social Security disability, many millions on top of that living on entitlement programs, not to mention enormous numbers of public employees. We may have gotten to the point where the government economy is more important in the short term than the real economy,
yes,
close quote. Every word of that rings true to you.
Yes, yes. The Republicans, I think, have the notion that because so many people are unemployed and on food stamps, that is a negative for Obama. Franklin D. Roosevelt was elected in a landslide after having an unemployment rate higher than Obama's. There was not a single month in the first term of Franklin D. Roosevelt when unemployment was not in double digits. And in a number of months, the unemployment was over 20%. And he won the biggest landslide in American history. So there's the people who think that the economy is the key, that you can't win if your unemployment is 8%. Forget it.
So folks like you and me who can remember 1980, the election of 1980, Reagan versus Carter, and there's a lot of talk that this is the most consequential election in 2012 since 1980. But things are worse now than they were in 1980.
Yes.
The underlying fundamentals of you'd agree with that?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So a moment ago I asked how America would be different if President Obama were reelected, and your answer is we move very quickly toward Greece. Mm-hmm. Question, how is the country different if Mitt Romney is elected? To what extent can he address, well, the immediate economic problem, but to what extent can he go deeper and address the underlying moral problem, the breakup of the family, these difficulties we've been discussing?
Well, I don't think that he's able to do that in one term. I think if he can just stop it's as if someone could have plugged the leak on the Titanic. That would have been better.
That would have been a lot better.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So your agenda for Mitt Romney, and you believe, so two questions. Is this your agenda for Mitt Romney, and is it within the ambit of actual possibility if he's elected? One, fix the economy in the short term.
No, I don't want him to fix the economy. I want him to stop politicians from trying to fix the economy. That's what's caused the problem. When we had 150 years when nobody thought it was the president's job or anybody else in the government's job to fix the economy. The economy fixed itself.
All right. A couple of days ago, I put up a post on Ricochet, letting people know that I'd be interviewing you and asking Ricochet members what questions they'd like to hear you address. And there were dozens of replies, but one theme. And the theme was this: ask Dr. Sowell what grounds he sees for optimism. Tom?
Well, I'm not usually a dispenser of optimism.
I'm asking you to force yourself.
It's tough, but I'll try. I think Romney knows that all these bright ideas that they're constantly coming up with in Washington have a negative effect, even if the ideas themselves aren't so terrible. Because what it means is that if you're going to invest, let's say just for 3 years, and it's going to take 3 years for this to pay off. You don't know what the rules are going to be of the game are going to be 3 years from now.
Right.
And Obama has stocked the federal bureaucracy with people who think it's their job to come up with unending lists of bright ideas, to stop mortgage foreclosures, to do this, to do that, to do the other. There are no rules. And the one thing that has been crucial to economic prosperity here, in other countries, and in other centuries, has been having a set of dependable rules under which people can invest, because investment means putting money out right now in hopes of getting it back. When you don't have that hope, because you don't know what new costs will be imposed on you and so forth, then you hang on to your money. This idea that the Federal Reserve has to create more money at a time when both the banks and businesses have record-breaking amounts of money sitting idle. The question is, why is it idle? It's idle because they're afraid to invest it.
All right. Last question. You've become famous in recent years for remarking, famous to me anyway, that you're not terribly worried about the country's future because you're no longer worried about the future. Now, I'm not going to let you do that. You've got grandchildren. For that matter, we know that this program is especially popular among college students. So let us ask about the 18, 19, 20, 21, 22-year-olds who are watching this program and saying, well, all right, Dr. Sowell may have turned 80, but I'm young. Mm-hmm. I value liberty. I want to do what I can to preserve this republic. What is your advice to them?
Oh gosh. Oh, for number one, get out there and vote Obama out of office before he makes things even worse. Social Security is not going to be there for them the way it is set up right now. Something is going to have to be done. Now, anyone who proposes doing something will be accused of being heartless and wanting to get rid of Social Security. Now, arithmetic will get rid of Social Security if you don't do anything. So it's not a question. You don't have the option to just let Social Security keep going. This is the reason for the welfare states of Europe being in such turmoil. Riots in the street and austerity and unemployment rates over 20% and so on, is the chickens have come home to roost. You have unfunded mandates out there. You essentially promise people things. It's like giving them a generous check knowing that there's not enough money in the bank to cover it.
Right.
And now we're discovering that the hard way, and it's only a matter of time before the younger generation get there and discover that all the money they paid in Social Security went to pay the pensions of the previous generation, as well as other spending by Washington.
So what's really pernicious about the welfare state as it nears the edge of the cliff, and as we see it breaking down in Greece, is that people very understandably plan their lives around the notion that they'll be getting such and such a check for this and that they'll be getting health care for that. And then suddenly they discover that their plans are worthless. They've built their lives on certain expectations. So your advice to these 20-year-olds would be, plan on reality, not on what the government is saying, not on the government's lies about the welfare state that will always be there to take care of you. Is that fair?
Absolutely. And particularly in the case of Social Security, that what they need to do is put their money someplace where politicians can't touch it. That's the
Switzerland?
No. That's the argument for putting it into private accounts. You see, if a private insurance company does what the Social Security system does, you can put the people behind bars in a federal prison.
Right.
Because they have to have enough assets to cover their liability. Otherwise,
they're breaking the law.
That's right. Congress can do that, but the private people can't. And that's why you shouldn't have the money subject to Congress's direct control, but put it somewhere else.
All right. So the rallying cry with which we close today is vote Obama out.
Yes.
All right. Dr. Thomas Sowell, author of, most recently, this marvelous essay, Trickle-Down Theory and Tax Cuts for the Rich. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.